Sharing the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Today we're on quatrain 61, and some of the quatrains flow together and are a continuation. Others stand alone. Yesterday, Padma read number 60, and so I'm going to read that and then read today 61 and then have Swami Kriyananda play it because they are connected. So I had said several days ago, because it really started, this continuation started several days ago, I suggested that we begin by imagining ourselves in a potter's shop, there in the heart of ancient Persia, surrounded by the different pots and different stages of being made before fired in the kiln and afterwards and so forth. And so Omar suggests to us to make the metaphor that we incarnate beings, humans specifically, our bodies made from clay, as the metaphor is in Genesis, from the dust of the earth, and yet alive and self-aware. So using the imagery of the pottery shop, the pot and the potter, Padma read to you yesterday, and strange to tell among the earthen lot, some could articulate while others not. And suddenly one more impatient cried, "Who is the potter, pray, and who is the pot?" And so she described Yogananda's explanation that in human life, among human beings, some question their lot, some ask some of the big questions, and some do not. I remember my mother telling me that later, when I was an adult rather, that as a little one, I would pester her with the big questions. Frankly, I don't remember doing that, but it would have been like me to do so. And I was surprised that Padma didn't tell the story that when she asked her mother some of the big questions, her mother cautioned her that some people could go crazy thinking about such things, and it was perhaps better not to do so. Anyway, so here we are with 61, and this conversation in the pottery shop among the pots continues. And then said another, "Surely not in vain my substance from the common earth was ta'en, that he who subtly wrought me into shape should stamp me back to common earth again." And so the one pot is questioning and saying that surely it was for no higher purpose, no conscious intention, that I was made from the dust of the earth, taken, and then only to be stamped back into earth again when my pot is broken and returns to earth. So let's hear Swami Kriyananda say this. Oh heavens.
Stanza 61. Then said another, "Surely not in vain my substance from the common earth was ta'en, that he who subtly wrought me into shape should stamp me back to common earth again."
Now, those of you who are following along in the textbook or in this beautiful book of Yogananda's commentaries as Swami Kriyananda edited them, will see that for number 61, it's quite a involved and philosophically dense explanation that Yogananda gives to us. He launches into well, I'll just have to paraphrase, otherwise I'm not going to read all this. You should read it. But in the Abrahamic traditions, which is, of course, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, in the so-called monotheistic traditions, therefore, God is treated, as some of the Christian theologians put it, as wholly other, meaning God lives outside his creation. Whereas in the Eastern thinking, And it's not that it isn't in the Abrahamic tradition thinking, but it's not as clear as in the East, and especially in India. But in India, in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita, in that great tradition of Sanatana Dharma, teachings of the East, God became the creation. Now, why is any of this relevant? Well, I don't know that it is relevant to most of us listening to it, but certainly the 21st century has reached the nadir of the idea, fueled part by science and scientific thinking, that the world is random, it is meaningless, that whatever consciousness we possess has come from unconsciousness, meaning from the random process of the law of survival, as Darwin put it, the evolution of the species, and that the fact that we can think about ourselves and be self-conscious and self-aware and even ask these big questions is somehow related to our ability to survive. I really doubt that, but anyway, obviously. And so the question of whether or not God is outside the creation or inside, well, the Trinitarian approach actually says it's both and. I want you to remember that. Both and is the greatest mantra. Well, is it the greatest? It's an important mantra that can solve life's problems, okay? Both and allows us to accept the reality of others, at least as their perception, and accept our reality, at least as our perception, and that maybe we can find common ground to work towards solutions. In any case, the either-or approach, the Socratic approach, the left brain or reasoned either-or approach is not solution-oriented, okay? It's competitive. Law of survival, survival of the fittest, you see. And so the Eastern teachings are both and. In the Trinity approach, now I'm way off the topic, not off the topic, but way off the explanation here. You just have to buy the book, for heaven's sakes. And so we have, oh my goodness, I just forgot what I was going to say. Well, the Trinity. We have the Spirit beyond creation, has the intention, the desireless desire to write a drama, a play, to have some fun. And so, without any compulsion to do so, the Spirit, encased in bliss, wants to share its bliss with somebody. Okay? A lame explanation, but stick with me. And so, that Spirit has this idea, and the very thought of other, the very thought of another consciousness produces a wave, a vibration out from the vibrationless sphere of bliss comes the intention, the desire to create the many. From the one comes the many. And that primordial vibration is the consort, okay? The consort of the bliss spirit beyond creation is the mother, in whose womb is impregnated that seed intention of the Spirit Father beyond creation. And so the mother of creation creates all these diverse forms in seeming appearance, in constant motion, panta re, all is flux. And so God is both beyond creation, as the Abrahamic traditions suggest or aver, but as it's not polytheistic, but in the Eastern tradition, then God is also eminent. And then within, in the intelligence that we find in the beauty of rocks, the formation of all forms, he talks about here how in mankind evolution attains its highest development. But in rocks and soil, God sleeps. In plants, projects his gentle movement. In birds and animal, he projects his consciousness as activity. And in mankind, achieves this highest development. Consciousness is the kernel of form. Okay? And so the laughing and wailing of babies reveals to our minds the ephemeral nature of joys and sorrows. In other words, within one human life, we see an evolution from lower states, the tantrum yoga of the toddler, to potentially at least the higher states, the grandfatherly states of acceptance and love for all. And so these little pots in the pottery shop represents the wide range of human consciousness, human intelligence, human striving, human awareness. And so we reach the epitome of self-realization, the avatar that is sent back into human form of those souls who have achieved cosmic consciousness, achieved first identification beyond the body through love, the social way, and then within the three bodies, the energetic universe, the idea universe, and then the bliss spirit beyond creation, and then returning to earth fully armed with complete self-realization to help and guide others. This is the great law of life. Creation was made, the spirit beyond creation was made to have some fun, to enjoy its bliss through many, and yet at the same time gave to the creation a degree of choice. Okay? Scientists thought that the randomness of quantum particles suggested meaninglessness, at least other people did, maybe not the scientists, but yet it also suggests potentially intelligence and choice. Our choice is to be free. Our choice is to unmask the Creator behind His creation, behind His play, and say, "Oh, what a great play you have made." Okay, great souls, today is Friday, so you'll have to wait till Monday for Padma to go on to stanza 62. Joy to y'all. Enjoy the sunshine if you have it, and enjoy the rain if you don't.